Hello and welcome to part 14. So we're on the Mu and Atlan. And I'm just going to show you this picture because I don't know if I showed you this picture at the end of the last one, which is the picture of Joan and Arc. So I'm just going to show that. Okay. Before we came to teach, we observed from Venus because Venus feels what Earth feels the most. It is the higher form. When the giants came into form, the templates were shifting so fast that it was like a drug to the brain. Some were unable to think straight and wars happened. Wars of an indifference of the creation, man. Of the man creation. A divide. Some wanted to control them for service to self motives, while others wanted to guide them into the law of one. This is what shifted the vibration of the organic template, causing Earth and Venus to split from one another. When we came, we had encoded in us the sacred heart flame of Venus, which helped to stabilize the grid of Earth. Travelling through the rainbow tunnel like fibre optic lights. Travelling through the rainbow tunnel until we filtered through the Mother Ark Earthly Gateway. We came to create the motherland, using our very own cells to project out the consciousness of this divine template, Mu. From us, the 144, along with Lord of Venus, Zanit, Kumar, and Lord of Sirius, Xanada, Kumara, we created a plasma shield around Earth, encoded it with the keys of the Mu blueprint. From this shield, it emitted the codes into the land and sea along with all earthly creations. The suns would amplify these codes, which helped to seed them into the grids. Night did not exist during this time node. Two suns were seen in the sky. One appeared closer and larger, the other further away and smaller. This second sun was no other than the sphere Venus, shining like a white pearl over Earth. We used some of this light in the making of this plasma shield as well as the solar discs. Encoded in these discs are these original codes. These discs are crystalline in nature, feeding from the organic Earth-Venus crystalline grid, directly connected to the diamond pillar which runs from Venus through the North Pole of Earth to exit from her South Pole to then feed into this plasma grid around her body. Held within this grid are the 12 solar sun discs, with the 13th one held within the atoma. So I'm just going to show you this illustration here. Being that 144 of the elect houses the Seraphim light codes, they also pulled energy from these codes to inject into the solar discs. As source surges directly into the 144 suns, causing upgrades, it then filters into these discs. The elect 144, 144 are spoken of in legends because they have been here since the very start of the planetary cycle and will be until she is united back with her higher form. The 144,000 holds within their light body the cosmic codes from the 144 suns of this universe. Because of this, they automatically are activating the solar disc codes, which return bridges Earth to her Gaian grid. The elect 144, 144 are directly connected to the higher council of Sirius and the intergalactic council, which is the Melchizedek order. And obviously right now as I'm reading this, we are in Lionsgate, which is all about our connection, the gateway to Sirius. It's interesting that we're reading this right now. Lords Zanit, Xander, and 9 other Kumaras are known as the 12 Suns. In ancient tongue, Kumare meant sun. It was later translated in Sanskrit as sun, S-O-N. So originally it meant sun, S-U-N, and then it was translated as sun, S-O-N. Kumara is connected to the fire god Agni of Hinduism, the very flame of human beings are birthed from, the very fire that Ra, the 12 Kumaras, represent of the 12 aspects of every creation, the 12 archetypes one needs to integrate within in order to become whole again with their higher self. The Kumar ray of 12 merely represents the 12 suns in the blueprint of this galaxy, cosmically named Ukana. I'm just going to show you this, the Buddhist fire god, Katan. This is an image. Kuana speaks. The reason this is called heaven on earth, or in brackets Eden, is because it was created to be the temple of the lion. E is a signature for a temple house, whilst DYNR signifies a lion. So when it says Eden, the way it shows it here is the EDYNR, Eden. Signifies a lion's roar, roar as in material form ejected from the lion's mouth. Mother Sophia, the prime creator of all, dropped her consciousness into the body of Nahare with a single roar, requesting all in creation to be allowed here with her. This is why the angelics have such a huge part to play in this creation. The reason why some beings felt earthly humans here were getting special treatment, not aware the vastness behind the original blue pearl blueprint, the mother pearl expression, for blue is the true colour of Christ consciousness. It is the colour of the divine mother arc. Those created along the ray of the heart of Sophia hold the blue aqua flame codes of her divine blueprint. Michael holds protection here, for this is the vibration directly from the heart of the mother. The blue flame sword now hovers over the sphere as a symbol for the halls of truth. Will you walk in the centre of the sword where the heart of the blue flame lies? Will you use this flame to transmute all that is not for the highest good of creation? Yes. In the creation of Mu, Lady Venus brought over the divine aqua heart flame from Venus. From this, the sisterhood and all knowledge of the sisterhood was created on this planet Earth. Those from ancient Mu hold within their light bodies these sacred blue rose codes. From our very fingers, we eject light out into the earth, creating what is known as Lemurian crystals. These crystals are a portion of our light. They can be accessed only by those pure of heart. When the Ka-Unas and merits from the sisterhood hold these crystals, they access their memories and the locked dormant files held within. These stones that are true in form feel cool to the touch, and a vibration ignites in the heart. The divine sisterhoods worshipped the divine feminine, the Mother Earth. We once bled together as one every month directly on her, returning the densified life force flow back to her. For from blood comes life. We all come from her. And I just want to add there, that's been coming to my conscious a lot about the priestesses, about the time when we would bleed, and that it was held as a sacred time because blood is sacred, because it carries, just as she's saying, it is the life force. It carries life force energy. It's sacred. But yet in our times, growing up in these modern times, we've made to be feel like there's something disgusting about it. There's something dirty about it. We use these ways to get rid of it, and it just goes into the bin. And many women feel embarrassed about it, like there's something wrong with it. It's been really inverted, as everything's been inverted, whereas really it's such a sacred time for women, and it's a time when women are actually supposed to actually have time with themselves in nature during those periods of time, and not have to be just on the go and just getting on with life as if this sacred event is not taking place. We were one with mer people and their pod families, worshipping the divine water womb of Earth. Earth is known as the cosmic library, for here houses divine knowledge coded within the waters. Many galactic centres are in this solar system, close to the Mother, the heavenly sapphire of the universe. The mighty guardians of Earth hold sapphire keys as a symbol of the divine Mother's heart. We once housed many teaching temples, allowing all access the cosmic sectors to come and learn. Allowing all across the cosmic sectors to come and learn. It was during these very visitations that some beings termed omninus. There were those who desired to be a Ka'una and have access to divine knowledge as well as sacred objects for service to self reasons. Over time, these beings experienced rejection into the temples and started to connect to a vibration outside of this timeline. Ultimately, shadow beings started to gain access to Earth through the inner portals with assistance of those who started to fall out of the law of one vibration. From the Syrian High Council of Atlan Mu, council was formed to carry out a mission to seal these tunnels inside the Earth. The service to self beings started to use energy from the Earth's heart crystal and alter the crystal caves and grids. The crystals are the memory of this mothership we call Earth. By reprogramming this motherboard, it then shifts the ship's destination. If we seal off these access points, it would keep them from accessing this energy. However, wars started to arise and the Mu Atlan temple started to decline. We needed to implement the Aryan temple to assist with the balancing in the masculine. Atlan was seeded right after Mu. There was no major gap in time as it was to balance the two energies of the planet. Just how you have the masculine and feminine in your brain seeded at the same time. Loosh. I've just posted something a little about Loose actually. So I'm really interested to hear what it says about it here. Talk about this with my clients, how our energy, this negative energy is loose, is taken from us. That's why there's so many wars and so much fear out in the media, so much stuff they put out there to keep people in anxiety and stress and fear, because they can take that energy, and that's what feeds these beings. So when we actually come back into truth and stop buying into this, stop believing their narrative, stop giving it attention, just switch it off and focus on our own inner paths, then it loses its source of food. It can no longer continue to survive on this planet. So the quicker that we all do that, the faster that energy leaves the planet. At least that is what I believe. It was during this time node that inorganic Mu timelines and memories were seeded. When soul sparks left their vessels, they carried with them those artificial intelligence memories. These distorted memories were created so in the very next incarnation it would alchemically alter Loosh. Loosh is a life force energy that is released from a human or animal, which houses a chaotic vibration during certain occurrences. This loosh can then be harnessed by the service to self vibrations to use and create false grids. This is the very start of how human DNA and timelines became completely distorted. The stories of animal sacrifice were created as a false narrative laced in the gridwork at the fall of Atlan. By having man think they are less than causes the harnessing of Lush. Installing the idea of sin causes the harnessing of loose. Oh my God, I so resonate with that. You know, me and my brother have talked about this often. I love my brother. He's an amazing, amazing soul, but he's definitely entrapped into religious dogma, Christianity. And, you know, I'm not saying there's nothing in there, you know, but the Bibles that are out there, they are infiltrated. And he really buys into this idea of sin. And what does the idea of sin do? Well, subconsciously, exactly what Zanita's saying here, right? And the angels are saying, subconsciously, it means you are, just by breathing on this planet, it tells you in your inner world that you are bad, that you are wrong, that you have done something wrong, and God is mad at you and he has expelled you from heaven. And you're going to have to really just obey these commands that are put into the Bible in order for God to have mercy and forgive you. There's so much about sin that is just, it's just an inversion. It's just a way to make people feel less than, that we are less than, and we deserve to suffer, right? We should suffer because we are born into sin. So see how sin causes the harnesses and loose, yeah? Because, you know, I say to my brother, like, you know, if you're connecting to true Mother, Father, God, to source, well, it inspires you. It creates unity. It creates all this light that starts to come off. And it also, well, the more light we embody, the more we see our shadows, it allows us to see those parts of us that need to be healed and brought back into wholeness. So it also really accelerates our path of healing. It doesn't keep us stuck in addictions and depression. You know, it lifts us out of things like depression and mental illnesses as we start to come back into truth and alignment. So, you know, if this idea of sin was really true, well, we can see because the idea of sin isn't true, it keeps people locked in these negative cycles and loops that they can't break out of. And it also really subconsciously tells people that the power is outside of them, that they must go through this one figure. And in Christianity, that's Jesus Christ, right? They must go through this one figure. They must just worship this one figure, and in doing that, all of their sins are resolved. So it creates that vulnerability. It plays on their insecurities and vulnerabilities of feeling like, God, I'm just born bad. So if I follow this, then God's gonna let me in. And it keeps people in victimhood and powerlessness because they don't believe that the power is within them, when really it's about going inside. And as you read in this book, right, it's about activating your own Christ consciousness. You know, I always say this to my brother, look, if you know, my brother totally believes that God is in everything, right? He does believe that, and you know, he loves God, he really does. And I really admire his, you know, I see how much he loves God. And it's just this, you know, this Christianity dogma that keeps him locked in his own despair and suffering, and powerlessness. But I say to him, I say, look, Graham, I say, you know, God is everything, right? It is existed before creation existed itself. You know, gives life to absolutely everything. So why would God only seed himself inside one human being when he could seed himself inside us all, ready for us all to go back in and realize we are all a spark of God? And as we connect to that, we activate that Christ consciousness within, and then we start to, you know, then God flows through the whole of creation and the landscape changes. So installing the idea of sin causes the harnessing of loosh. The need to sacrifice an animal causes the loosh not only from the animal but also as a collective energy fed from all involved in the ceremony. Yeah, this is why the animal kingdom fell in vibration. The feeling of fear entered their consciousness grid. Magical beings such as unicorns, dragons and fairies all hunted for sacrifice. As a unified consciousness, these beings selected to exit these timelines and fully anchor back onto the organic grids. Don't blame them. And thankfully they did, actually, because they kept that undistorted consciousness energy for a time when it would be safe in humanity, when humanity started to raise its consciousness, at a time when it was safe for us to start, for those energies to start coming back in, those organic energies to start coming back into the grid, to the earth. And many people now are talking about working with dragons and unicorns and fairies, with the elemental realm. So they originally sacrificed their light to come into the altered timelines to assist mankind. All animals here today are here out of their love to the human race and earth, to assist in feeding the grids with those solar codes. Oh, the purr of a feline, for example, is a sacred light language that is laced with these codes. Yeah, I mean, anyone that's got a cat, I mean, you just cannot not fall in love with cats. They're such special, sacred creatures. And it is true that just, often when I meditate, my cats meditate with me. And just the purr, when they purr, and it just takes you into this meditative state. It's just so soothing, it's so healing. My niece came to live with me when she was like 17. And when she moved in, she was like, I'm a dog person. Well, it wasn't long before she was like, I'm a cat person. And now, even though she doesn't live with me anymore, she has cats. She absolutely loves cats. They are special. I mean, I love all animals, but cats are just amazing. By a feline touching your energy field with this sound, it is helping you to heal. This is why one feels such calmness during these sacred acts. The pure love of animal companion gives is so pure and deep for us all. Yeah, I've learned so much from observing my cats over my awakening. As this chaotic loosh started to reside upon the planet, the Atlan and Mu templates started to divide. They once worked in harmony. One side of the landmass carried the masculine, while the other carried the feminine. The entire land of the planet was as one with no separation. As the energies of the planet started to shift, so did the body. Just as any other creational body changes structure throughout densities, the legends of Atlantis echo into the field because it was formed directly from the loosh on the Mu Atlan timelines. Enough loosh was harnessed to create a holographic Earth, inorganic in nature, to provide the false Lemurian and Atlantis template that the service of self energies desired. Over time, from wars and greed, it caused this holographic planet to explode. Upon this planet, real soul sparks existed in bodies, for this was a parallel timeline. They became drawn to that timeline by distorted energies, and over time it fully anchored their consciousness in Atlantis. Reversal networks were put into place to assist in the rescue mission of these fractal souls. All the memories of planets being blown up in your solar system are from inorganic timelines. It is imperative that anyone who houses this miasma to go within and heal this. The technology used is so real that it gives your brain the image it happened. It is no different from one placing on glasses for virtual reality gaming. Yeah, and I've read about this. It was last year in a book called 180 Degrees, I think, and it talks about how this dark force, these beings, have the ability to create holographic inserts. So they can create these inserts. It's like a Hollywood movie or something that can seem so real to us as we plug into those in our. We can believe that what we're seeing is real when it's not real. It's a holographic insert. But at the end of the day, if we believe it, we create that energy of that fear. So, this is the world that we have been living in. I say, all the news and that, it's a theatre show. I'm not saying that they're not doing bad things, because they absolutely are. But it's really a narrative and a theatre show there to pull you into an inorganic, to keep you seated in the inorganic timelines and keep you powerless. I have this dream that one day I wake up and every single person has turned off the mainstream. Ah! Yes. Taken back their power. Okay, so over time from wars and greed, it caused this holographic planet to explode. Up on this planet, real soul sparks existed in bodies, for this was a parallel timeline. They became drawn to that timeline by distorted energies, and over time it fully anchored their consciousness in Atlantis. Reversal networks were put in place to assist in the rescue mission of these fractal souls. All the memories of planets, I realise I'm reading this again, sorry guys, being blown up in your solar system are from inorganic timelines. It is imperative that anyone who houses this miasma to go within and heal this. The technology used is so real that it gives the brain the image it happened. It is no different from one placing on glasses for virtual reality gaming. Over time, this is reprogramming your natural, non-physical senses into inorganic physical ones. This is created to then work from your emotional body. This is how negative thought forms are created. These then filter out from you and into the grid of the planet for others of the collective consciousness to feel exactly. I do a video, I'll link it at the end, about thoughts, where, I say that, so many thoughts, they are not our thoughts, they are inorganic thoughts. Any thoughts that ever had you believing that you are not enough, that you are less than, that you are bad, all these shaming thoughts, all these not enoughness thoughts, these are inorganic thoughts. These are not your thoughts. And I talk about some experiences when I was younger, when I was a teenager, and these thoughts that I would have had, and I felt so much shame about these thoughts that I had, and I thought, where did these thoughts come from? I couldn't understand where they came from, and I understand now they were not my thoughts. They were implanted into me. I was tapping into them from the collective consciousness grid, from the programming that was out there. You cannot simply erase or destroy a hijacked timeline, because by default you automatically destroy that which is organic. In the Melchizedek mandate and agreement was that this node in time and space, the very sector where your consciousness exists now, many will come to help save the fractalized souls that fell during the explosion of the holographic inorganic earth. This explosion is known as the fall of Atlantis. Interesting, right? Atlantis does not occur on the organic timeline of Earth. Interesting. This is a hijacked inorganic event that occurs on the infiltrated timeline. So many souls incarnated here hold deep wounds of Atlantis, since all in creation happens in the now. The fragmented part of your soul is calling out to you of this node in time for help. On a parallel node of time, you exist directly across from the point in time Atlantis fell. The hijacked timeline will continue to play out because one should never intervene with nature. Absolutely. When you balance your energetic bodies, work with your divine pearl essence, it helps you to step out of these mindsets and into your diamond pillar of Christos light. Just with that, right, one should never interfere with nature, right? What is it that this part of this control system, I don't want to call them that anymore, because they're no longer controlling me or many other people that are waking up to truth. But part of it, was about, when I was a teenager, they implanted a seed in my mind that my boobs were just not good enough. They just weren't the right size for a woman. That was planted very young, when I was 5 years old, in a movie that I saw, Weird Science. And then when I was 14, 13, that's when the real agenda really unleashed upon the planet through the false idols that they pay to have these boob jobs to show people this is what a woman looks like, to show men this is what a woman looks like, creating all this distortion in the field. And, having all these girls feeling so bad about their bodies, because, we're not all supposed to have the same body. Just like we've all got our own signature energy, our own unique fingerprints. We're not all supposed to look the same and be the same. You know, why would God express itself as just all one being the same vibration? There'd be no point in being different beings. You might as well just be, God just stays one being, right? What's the point? If we're all going to be exactly the same, like clones, but clones is what they've tried to create, right? Create us all as these robotic clones so we can be controlled in this hive mind type of way. You know, I put a post out the other day say unity consciousness does not mean we all think the same, we all act the same, we all dress the same. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means at the core of it, we understand we are unified as one, as one consciousness, that we work together, we collaborate together for the highest good of all of creation. But we express ourselves in our own unique way. We connect into our authenticity, to that which God has seeded within us, and we express ourselves within earth through that expression. We are not all the same, but you know, in that programming that we've been through, you know, that manipulation of the body, you know, I was so close to having a boob job when I was like 18 because I felt so bad about myself, and I'm so grateful that I never did that to my body. I'm so grateful that I didn't start to mess with this organic structure, this precious body that has been given into my guardianship to look after. And I'm not, if anyone's done that to their body, please don't feel guilt or shame about it. I'm not saying it for you to feel like that at all, because at the end of the day, we've been under psychological warfare, and they plant these seeds from a very young age. Like I say, you know, it went back to me being 5. I awoke to this only during April when I was doing my Reconnect program. That came into my consciousness, and I was shown where it was first seeded in my life. And it was probably seeded before that in reality, but that was one of the first memories of where it was seeded. You know, so they've been hijacking our consciousness for a long time, playing into our insecurities, and then using that to get us to act in a way, to do something like have a boob job and think we are making a conscious choice out of consent to do it. And we are not making conscious choices out of consent. We are making them from subconscious programming. Okay, so when you balance your energetic bodies, work with your divine pearl essence, it helps you to step out of these mindsets and into your diamond pillar of Christos light. This then generates your very own grid of diamonds that automatically transmute any inorganic energy waves that come into your field. This is the meaning of the eye of the storm. A storm of energy can be whirling around you, however, it cannot harm you. Your very own Christos light is your guardian angel. And I'm just going to finish with this little extract that she's brought out from the King James Bible. He answered and said, "Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God." Right, so we're going to move on to the Orion template on the next part.